Hi everyone. So I just wanted to share some things that I had found online just for the heck of it. I'm watching Rabbit down the rabbit hole, her commentary on one of the videos in which Streets LA is putting in several complaints about these dirty, dirty LAPD cops. And I had this idea to come share some of the language that's used to describe poor behaviors of police officers from, it's the Brady List, which I've never heard of, and I will most definitely put the link in the description box. So, discourtesy. Police officer misconduct can refer to discourtesy, which refers to behavior by a police officer that is impolite, disrespectful, or unprofessional. This can include insults, verbal abuse, or using inappropriate language. Discourtesy by police officers can create tension and mistrust between law enforcement and the community, and can negatively impact the perception of the entire police department. I have to check my Wi-Fi connection. It's just... Okay, so here are the other categories. Very reminiscent of the military that I was part of as a military police person. So you have abuse of authority, detention. I'm going to look this up. I don't even know what this is. I'm definitely going to be calling my internet provider because this is crazy. I'm paying a lot of money for my internet services and it shouldn't be going this slow. Okay, detention. Abuse of authority via detention refers to a specific instance of police misconduct where an officer uses their power and authority to detain an individual without just cause. Oh, we don't say. You don't say. Or in a manner that violates their rights. I guess LAPD's got that covered. This type of misconduct can include unreasonable searches, check, false arrests, check, or excessive use of force, check, like cranking DOA's arm behind his back when it wasn't necessary during detainment. It represents a serious abuse of power, check, and can erode public trust in law enforcement, check. Okay. Where to start, you guys? This is a really good list. Supremacy, I don't want to read that. I think we kind of already get the gist of that. Well, just for the heck of it, bribery and official corruption. Because all these cops at the LAPD are acting as if they don't know what Scientology is. Yet Scientology is their biggest supporter. And I'm still a little bit baffled as to how that's legal. I'm not a legal expert, but that just sounds... How's that legal? And we already know about all the contracts that government gets. Like Streets was going over that, which was really interesting. And I've known about that since I'm a veteran, as well as I have worked in the government. Past tense. Bribery, official corruption. Official corruption refers to a specific instance of police misconduct Where an officer uses their position and authority for personal gain, check. What about if the entire department is doing that? Or to further illegal activities, check. We got that covered. This can include accepting bribes, check. Falsifying records, check. Or evidence, check. Or using their position to further criminal activities, check. Like allowing drug addicts with records to punch and attack LA streets LA. Falsifying records, check. Or evidence, check. Or using their position to further criminal activities, check. Official corruption is a serious breach, check, of trust. I don't think LA ever had police trust, and can have a significant impact on the integrity of the entire law enforcement profession, check. Such incidents can result in criminal charges and disciplinary action for the corrupt officer, as well as harm to the public's perception of the police. Well, that's too late. False arrest. Let's see what that is. Sorry, you guys. It's taking a minute. I probably need to clean my my phone out. False arrest. False arrest is the unlawful detention or restraint of an individual, check, by a police officer without probable cause, check, or a valid warrant, check. False arrest can violate an individual's constitutional rights, check, 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 and can have serious consequences for the victim, check, including loss of freedom, Danny, check, damage to reputation, check, and financial loss, check. It's going to be the LAPD cops soon. False arrest by police officers can also have a negative impact. Yeah, this is the thing they put it, all of them. Impact on public trust in law enforcement and the reputation of the police department. No kidding. Okay. What about like when they don't even take statements? How about that? Okay, let me see something here. First Amendment, just for kicks and giggles, right? Do 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 do. This is what they continually are violating. I really don't think this is something new, though. I'm going to do some research into this. First Amendment. A violation of the First Amendment by a police officer can occur when they use their position of authority to suppress or restrict an individual's rights for free speech or assembly. That's been happening for how many months now? Or when they retaliate against individuals for exercising their First Amendment rights. Oh, let's see, like the last 4 months? Such violations can have serious consequences for the individual and can harm public trust in law enforcement and the reputation of the police department. I want to see what this is about here. Illegal search. Wow, you guys, I'm sorry about this. I want to pause it for a minute. Illegal search. Illegal search is a search conducted by a police officer without a warrant or probable cause. I'm pretty sure this has been happening, right? In LA. An illegal search violates an individual's Fourth Amendment rights. That's their body, something to do with your body. Fourth Amendment rights, which protect against unreasonable searches and seizures. I really wonder if the search on DOA's van was legal. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to look into that one. Illegal searches by police officers can result in the seizure of illegal or incriminating evidence, which can be used to prosecute the individual, or like when they're trying to set them up. Such searches can also harm public trust in law enforcement. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to check out Lockup Procedures. Wish it would move a little faster. Lockup Procedures. Lockup procedures are the standard procedures followed by police officers when detaining individuals and holding them in custody. Does that mean like not allowing them to have visitors? I mean, I just wonder where that comes in there. Violations of lockup procedures can include failure to follow proper booking procedures. Well, considering they didn't follow any other procedures, rules, laws, or anything, I'm sure that wasn't followed. Failure to provide necessary medical attention. They do that all the time. How many times have we heard about people dying in custody or being ignored? I remember seeing somewhere where a guy was put, it's a big joke with these narcissistic psychopaths. When somebody's not doing what they want them to do, they'll put them in a hot police car without any windows, which can, by the way, kill someone, especially if they have a serious medical condition. Okay, back to what I was reading. Violations of lockup procedures can include failure to follow proper booking procedures, failure to provide necessary medical attention, or mistreatment of individuals while in custody. Such violations can have serious consequences for the individual, including harm to their health and well-being, and can also harm public trust in law enforcement and the reputation of the police department. I had a nephew who died in custody, but unfortunately he was on heroin, but I always wonder about that. I mean, that was his responsibility that he did that, and it was unfortunate, but I've always wondered about that because he died in the jail. Okay, misconduct. Misconduct. Misconduct refers to any behavior by a police officer that is illegal, check, unethical, check, or violates departmental policies, check, and procedures, check. This can include acts such as excessive use of force, check, corruption, check, discrimination, check, false arrest, check, and abuse of power, check. Police officer misconduct can have serious consequences for individuals, communities, and the reputation of the police department, and it is important for law enforcement agencies to have policies in place to prevent and address such behavior. And a really good checks and balance system, not something that's just going to help and continue the cover-up. Money and property. Money or property refers to the inappropriate or unethical handling of money, property, or other assets by a police officer. Check. This can include acts such as theft, embezzlement, mismanagement of funds, or abuse of power. Check. The handling of money or property by police officers can have serious consequences for individuals and organizations and can also harm the reputation of the police department and undermine public trust in law enforcement. Check. Conduct unbecoming. Law enforcement personnel are held to personal standards higher than other members of our communities. Conduct unbecoming has a common and historical charge used in controlling and censuring police officers and other public employees for both on and off-duty actions. The Police Officers Code of Ethics, written back in the 1950s, has a provision that is routinely referenced in training, as well as court decisions, that promises, under oath, I will keep my personal life unsullied as an example to all. Court decisions regarding public employee misconduct involving conduct unbecoming commonly requires that the act of misconduct have a nexus or connection to the employee's job performance or ability to perform, or have an adverse effect on the agency's morale, operations, or efficiency. Historically, law enforcement employees have been held to this higher standard of conduct both on and off the job. That's a lie. This heightened standard of conduct also applies to other public employees. Oh, here we go. Okay. If I might have left my phone on, I was pausing it, but anyways. Sorry, guys. Failure to identify. Failure to identify occurs when a police officer fails to properly identify themselves or their agency while on duty, like when they won't give badge numbers. This can include failing to wear a uniform or badge, check, failing to carry identification, or telling people that, take your card, here's my card, when asked. The failure to identify by police officers can create confusion and mistrust, and can also harm the reputation of the police department and public trust in law enforcement. Let's try neglect of duty. Neglect of duty. Neglect of duty, which occurs when a police officer fails to perform the responsibilities assigned to them. This can include failing to respond to calls for service, failing to take appropriate action in emergency situations, check, or failing to perform other duties as assigned. Neglect of duty by police officers can harm the effectiveness of the police department and undermine public trust in law enforcement. Okay. I was going to look at political activity, but that wouldn't really cover all that stuff with Scientology. Oh, just for heck of it, secondary and special employment. Secondary/special employment. Secondary or special employment violations occur when a police officer engages in paid employment outside of their duties as a police officer without proper authorization. Well, that's boring. This can include working a second job while on duty as a police officer, or working as a private security guard, or in another capacity that is in conflict with the duties and responsibilities of a police officer. I would say that relationship between Scientology and the LAPD, that's complete conflict of interest. Secondary or special employment violations by police officers can create the appearance of partiality, and compromise their ability to perform their duties as a police officer. Some police departments may have policies that regulate secondary or special employment by police officers to prevent conflicts of interest and to ensure that officers are able to perform their duties effectively. Clearly, Hollywood PD doesn't perform any of their duties. Slow or no response. Slow or no response. Misconduct can refer to slow or no response which is a violation that occurs when a police officer fails to respond promptly and effectively, check, to calls for service or other requests for assistance, check. This can include taking too long to arrive at the scene of an emergency, check, failing to take appropriate action once they have arrived, check, or failing to respond to calls for service at all, check. Slow or no response by police officers can compromise public safety, check, and can erode public trust, check. In the police department, police departments typically have policies and procedures in place to ensure that officers respond promptly and effectively to calls for service, and officers who violate these policies can be subject to disciplinary action. Anyways, this has gone really long. Let's check out just the last one I'm going to check is use of force. And then you guys can check all this out on your own. Use of force. Police brutality is the use of excessive and unnecessary force on the part of a police officer when he is interacting with a civilian, resulting in a violation of the civilian's civil rights. The use of such tools as pepper spray, batons, and tasers, as well as hitting, choking, throwing a non-combatant civilian to the ground. What about making them be on the ground when it's clear that they don't have a weapon? And sexual abuse are all examples of police brutality that is physical in nature. While it may sound like police brutality is strictly physical, that is not the case. Examples of police brutality that are not physical in nature include false arrests. Well, LAPD's definitely got that covered. Verbal abuse and racial profiling. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it there. I will put the link in the description. It's pretty cool, kind of interesting. Peace.